applied for the opportunity on a whim, after a suggestion from Mr. Simmons, our form tutor. But neither of us had thought any more about it after we'd clicked the submit button. Winning some fancy enrichment trip aboard a cruise ship wasn't supposed to happen to invisible kids like me. So months later, when the email from Seamester pinged into my inbox, I almost deleted it, thinking that sending the application had only led me to being added to yet another mailing list. But as I took in the subject line, my entire body began to shake, my finger still poised over delete. "Congratulations, Ms. Olivia Larkin. Your application has been successful." I read the email within a second, gobbling it down greedily with my eyes, then read it again, and then once more, sure I'd missed some small detail that would bar me from the trip. But eventually I allowed it to sink in. It was all there, clearly typed in black and white, size 12, Times New Roman. My application had been successful. I'd won a scholarship aboard a luxury world cruise, all expenses paid. Mum immediately called every living member of family we had in the world, then held an open conference with our neighbours, ardently gabbing on about things she'd never once mentioned to me, my immense literary talent, how she had known, the moment I picked up a crayon at 2 years old, that I was destined for greatness, and so on. And since then, I'd spent every single minute daydreaming, imagining myself as one of those stylish travel influencers who constantly filled my social feeds, my vintage suitcase beautifully packed, ready to vlog my every experience. Picturing myself on the bus down to Southampton, sitting next to some cute Brazilian student who I'd start a passionate, though ultimately doomed, love affair with halfway across the Atlantic. It hadn't quite worked out like that so far. For a start, instead of my sitting with a hot Brazilian, the familiar bulk of Will was wedged beside me on the bus, furiously tapping away at WhatsApp as hip-hop pounded tinnily out of his AirPods. Every now and then he would nudge me to share some ghoulish fact about our trip. "Hey, did you know most cruise ships have an actual morgue on board?" I rolled my eyes. "Why do I get the feeling this trip's going to feel more like 6 years than 6 weeks?" I groaned. Dad's car had taken ages to start, dead battery again. So we'd had a rushed peck on the cheek, "Get on the bloody bus, quick, before it goes, Liv," type of goodbye, during which Mum sniffed away her tears while basically ordering me to have fun. I mean, honestly, the absolute pressure of those words immediately led me to worry about how I'd need to fake it if I wasn't bouncing off the walls with giddiness during our 3 phone calls a day. Will's dad's sleek grey Mercedes drew up alongside moments later to drop him off. Neither Will nor his dad looked particularly happy, and Will leaped out several seconds before the car actually stopped, without a backward glance. I knew things had been difficult for him lately. At least the trip would take his mind off all that for a while. I'd spoken to Mr. Ashburnham, "Hey, call me Justin," on the phone the week before, and he'd casually dropped in how I was the only one on the ship who had won a full scholarship. Reading between the lines, I interpreted this as meaning everyone else in the group was filthy rich. Not pretty damn rich, like Will, whose dad worked as a hedge fund manager, a job I'd been disappointed to hear involved no actual hedges, and who had memorably invited the entire class to a go-kart racing party when Will was 8. But properly minted, private school, 3 skiing holidays, and the south of France twice a year rich. This was corroborated by the impossibly grand email addresses CC'd alongside mine. At St. Claris College, and at Our Lady of the Fields. Not exactly a natural extrovert, I found it all a little intimidating. There'd be no hiding in my cabin. The info from Seamester explained that our first week, the duration of our trip to New York, our initial destination, would be spent getting to know the rest of the group. So I'd gotten up an entire hour earlier than I needed to that morning, perfecting the effortless outfit I'd planned for weeks, one I hoped wouldn't immediately mark me scholarship girl. I'd settled on my favorite distressed jeans, paired with a silky camisole, sadly polyester mix, not actual silk, beneath a kimono, Mum's, so technically vintage, and my well-worn Stan Smiths. "Seriously, Liv, check this shit out." Will reached past me and pointed out the window.